Welcome back to Dev Odyssey, a developer's journey through IT, where I cover tutorials and reviews of IT tools and technologies. I'm your host, Orst, and today we are continuing our Postman Advanced series with Newman. Prior to this video, we had looked at Postman Monitor, which is a great way to monitor the health of your production deployed APIs to get really good statistical data on how they perform, if they're sending back the right response, etc. If you are interested in reviewing that type of content, go ahead and click the video to the right of me and you should be able to get started with that. Additionally, if you're just getting started with the advanced concepts of Postman, I'll have a link to the playlist to the right of me as well for Advanced Postman. And if you have no clue what Postman is and just happen to land on this video, I would recommend getting started with the Introduction to Postman series, which again will be to the right of me. So what is Newman? As a quick cover, Newman is a headless automation framework for running Postman collections. And this comes through the power of node.js, built on the node.js framework. Additionally, it comes with the use of the actual exported collection files that we can obtain from Postman. Because those are just JSON files, it has been really easy to parse, and it allows things like Node.js to really excel at not only executing requests, but also executing the tests within there. And since those tests are generally written in a Postman's form of JavaScript, we're really able to harness the power of the tests and pre-request scripts as need be. So in order to get started, as mentioned, we do have a requirement to run this. We'll need to have Node.js installed. If you do not have Node.js installed, there are two ways you can install it. First way, which I'd recommend is probably the easiest way, is to do it from the Node.js website. And if you go here, you should be able to download it. Clearly, I'm on a Mac, so if you're not, your Windows should pop up here, and I would just follow the most recommended version for users. Additionally, if you are on a Mac or Linux, any type of Linux, I would recommend Homebrew a little bit more. So Homebrew is a package manager for Linux and Mac OS. It allows you to really manage software in a very easy format, such as installs, uninstalls, updates. It does a really good job of that. I did run into some issues personally using Homebrew, and that's because I installed it with the website normally at first. So if you have done it that way and are switching to this way, you may run into some permissions issues, but nothing you shouldn't be able to resolve just by easily Googling it. So I would go ahead and just perform the install, but since I've already done that, I'm going to leave that out. And then once you have that done, you should be able to have a node terminal up. So from here, we'll need to install Newman, and it's a really simple install. All we need to do here is use the command npm, which is node package manager. We type in install -g, which is global, in Newman. Once we click enter, it should be able to find that package from its repositories. Go ahead and run it, and it updates. In my case, it updates it because even though if it's on the same version, it just says it updates. However, if you don't have it, you'll see more information on the console, and you'll get installed Newman at the end of it. I'd recommend definitely doing it globally because it allows us to really easily run it through the terminal versus just in other ways, which I'll show you soon. So now that we have gotten started, we can go over how to run our first collection. So we'll go to our trusty Postman Echo collection here. And you'll see in order for us to actually use this, we need the JSON copy of this collection. So we go ahead and click the ellipses here, and we do export. We have three options here. I recommend using the collection version 2.1. Go ahead and click export, and then we're given a file structure to look at. So here I'm going to export it to my Postman files directory, and this just has where the files I have for this video. So if I go ahead and click save, it's just going to replace what I have, but that's okay. So now that we have that, we can go ahead and get started. So I'm going to change to my Postman directory. And so here I have a couple things I can work with. To get started, we're just going to go through the Newman syntax. So if you type in Newman run -h, which is for help, we'll see a big output of what we have available for us in Postman's tool, or Newman. So here, briefly, I'm going to just kind of skim over these, but we have things such as E for environment, G for globals, folders. Let's say if you're using folder, want to only execute folders in a certain collection. You have working directory, known secure file reads, things like of that nature. Exporting environment and globals, which allows us to specify an output file to save those. Things such as exit codes, doing it silently so you don't see anything in the command line. K for insecure is if you don't have certificates on your API servers, it won't validate those and fail, and things of that. And then verbose, just in case if you need to do some debugging. So that generally is it. But all we really need to do is just Newman run and then the actual collection itself, and we should get an execution. So if we do, in this case, I'm going to move to my files directory where my collection is. So I'll do Newman run Postman echo collection JSON. And what we'll see here is something very similar. Again, it looks like what we've seen in Postman Monitor, if you looked at that video, or Postman Runner. And it just takes the same type of layout and puts it on a console. So we get to see the same type of layout with the get request, post form data, put request, patch, and delete request. Additionally, we get to see under here the tests that actually ran, and we see a little green check mark as well if they've passed, which is very easy on the eyes to do a quick glance and see what passed. Additionally, at the bottom, we do get a nice table that shows us the iterations, the request test scripts, pre-request scripts, and assertions, all that were executed or any that have failed. We get a nice total run time, a total amount of data that came through, and then the average response time. So now that we've seen this, there are many options we can go through with Newman. However, I'm going to just still skim the surface of what we can do. So additionally, if you don't want to use a collection file, this is where the API really comes in hand as well. The API allows us to dynamically reference a URL that gives us our collection that we want to execute, and it goes ahead and pulls that from Postman's web servers and will run that. So you don't even need to have an exported file. That will make more sense once we go through the Postman API in the next video. So now another thing that we can really do is use data files just like we can with Postman Runner. Doing that is very simple. We just need to use the syntax -d. So we'll see here when we do help, we have a -d iteration data and then a -n iteration count. So if I only want to run, let's say, if I want to run a data file, we can use two types of files, a JSON file or a CSV file. In this case, I'm not going to run with a data file since it won't help in any way. I could actually try it and we should get the same results as we would normally. So I'm going to try that out here. So we could do Newman run Postman echo collection -d, and in this case I'll do data.json. So I might not have put that in the right order, and we may need to put that first. So this may have an issue with my my JSON here. So we'll go ahead and take a look at it. But in general, that would be the syntax to actually run it. We can also do it with CSV file. So we'll go ahead and try that as well. And as you can see, it ran just as it would have normally. But in this case, if we did have, if we referenced any of those variables from the data file, it would have auto-populated here in our request, which is very useful. And you reference them the same way as you would in any Postman, I guess, IDE or any pre-request or anywhere basically within the Postman IDE. So it would be something like this, which is that's to denote the variable, the two left-hand brackets, and you could say var here and the closing brackets. So that means it'll pull it in that same way and give us that that data at runtime. Additionally, we can run this with another parameter called it's the -n. So what that does is sets an iteration count, such as, let's say I only want to go through 3 rows of execution. So we're going to do -n3. And as you'll see here, it's just going to run it 3 times. So even though the data doesn't change for us because we're not actually referencing it, it just goes through running this collection 3 times. And just so you get a quick look at how this actually works, you can do, I'll do a Vim so we can take a look at how this data looks. And this is really how all it is. This is data that I actually pulled from Postman's website, so it's very easy to use. But this is just what I wanted to use as an example. So if you had a properly formatted JSON, like I did not, we would be able to see it running without issue. Additionally, if you want to just see how a CSV file looks, it's just a similar type of manner. So we have the headers, or the headers of the columns, and then data within there. And that's it. And so you notice probably at the end, as I explained the output that we have in that nice table format, we have other options as well, and not just having to do it through the command line output. We can do something through a JSON reporter, which is one of the native reporters, but there are also custom reporters that you can download and use at your leisure that make it really powerful to use and report the data on. So you can get it in different formats that other programmers have made that may be convenient for your API testing. So we're going to cover that very briefly here, and in order to actually do that, we just need to use 2 types of references, I believe. One of them is the hyphen reporters, or hyphen reporters, and then another one is hyphen reporter JSON export. And so that just tells us what types of reporters we're using and then where to put the output file. So let's see if I can pull that up real quick. So here, we do hyphen reporters, and then we'll get something like CLI and JSON, which means output to the command line and output to JSON. And then if we want to say where to put this file, we'll do reporter JSON export, and that's Postman echo the collection. I'll go ahead and click that, and we should be able to run. I may have done it in the incorrect order though, so what we'll do is run it after. My mistake. I did not specify the output file. So I'll call this YouTube test.json. And there we go. So now it works. And we'll see that we have a new file called YouTube test.json. So if you want to get a look at it to see how it differs from here, it's honestly very similar to how a collection file looks. So I'll do a quick vim. And you'll see we get a bunch of collection data. We have Postman IDs. We have the IDs of the collections, the requests, everything honestly within here. And then towards the bottom within here where we have the actual response, we do get some information regarding that, the information that's basically reported on. So we have any cookies that come back, any the response time, the response body size, all of that stuff will come through in the response tag within here, which is their basic bare bones form of a JSON report. So it's definitely very, very crude, not really useful just as how it looks. However, with much processing and reporters that are available, you can create things like HTML reporters, or another example they have on Postman's website is I believe a Team City viewer reporter, which is nice for anyone who needs to, let's say work with Team City or any other CI/CD pipeline tool. You can report in that way, which is very, very convenient. Another way we can actually use Newman, which is again makes it very powerful, is through the use of actually node.js explicitly. So you may have noticed at one point here I have, well, in the folder prior to this one, I have something in here called Newman test.js. And what this folder actually contains is a snippet of JavaScript that calls the Newman run function within there. So now this makes it even that much more powerful, because anywhere where we have a Node.js environment, or let's say if you're using something like Jenkins, where if you have Node.js installed and you can run a post build script, even a pre-built script if you need to, of the JavaScript or a Node.js script, you can call that within there in that pipeline, and it'll actually execute whatever is in that Node.js script to run and then complete and move on, or complete and fail and revert based on the results of the output. And so that really makes this powerful in creating a end-to-end automation build pipeline. So we're going to take a quick look at how that looks. And here it's just very simple. We do something at the top called var Newman, which is kind of like importing the package or importing the library. And then under here we just have the Newman.run function. We define the collection here and just say what's required. Any type of reporter. So this is where we can do the command line reporter, or additionally the JSON reporter, or any other reporter that we've already downloaded. And then on completion of the function, if there's an error, we throw it, and if not, just log to console saying that the collection run completed. And so just to show you, we'll do all we need to do to run this is just do node, and we do Newman test.js. And we should see output exactly the same as if we ran Newman on our own. So this, again, is another really powerful way to use it. And really, at the end of it, honestly, this is the feature set that I really wanted to go over in a high level. There is a link that Postman has on their website that I use to really assist me in the development of this video. I'll recommend it, and I'll share you the link within the description so you could take a look and see how I executed this, and let alone used the malformed JSON apparently that didn't work. So my apologies on that. But if you have any questions regarding Newman and how it can be used, and just coming up with creative ways to really utilize the power of Newman, please go ahead and leave a comment in my video. I'd definitely be more than happy to answer. So on that note, if you like this content and you really enjoyed getting to learn just the surface of how Newman is powerful and what ways we can use it, go ahead and like this video. If you're more very interested in, any type of Postman content or future IT tools and technologies, I would definitely subscribe and would be grateful if you did. And just to be sure you were on top of this stuff, go ahead and click the bell to receive the notifications. In the next video, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to go over a Postman API. And that, I know I've been holding off for a while, but everything will start to kind of coalesce, and we'll see the power of things we can do with Newman, with the Postman API, monitors mocking, basically everything kind of comes together with the Postman API and shows us how we can even make it more powerful with a CI/CD pipeline. So again, thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and see you soon.